Everyone, welcome to a new episode of He's Not Wrong, and I'm your host, Chad D. It's been a minute, I feel like, since I kind of had like a solo intro and it's just been us. But in reality, I think it might be 2 weeks since we had this together. But it feels a lot longer than that. So I'm happy to be here. We have a new set, we're in a new space, and I'm really excited for the episodes that are to come that will be made right here. So before we get into the introduction and today's episode and our guest, I just want to preface this episode by saying this studio was not ready when this episode was made. Like, I moved in here, I had a lot of boxes, and then like a day and a half later, this episode was recorded, which is why you will see, if you're watching, we filmed it on my balcony in front of the Birmingham city skyline. Absolutely beautiful backdrop for this episode. But because we were outside, so if you're watching, you'll see it. If you're listening on one of the podcast apps, you will hear it at times. You'll hear a little wind. You'll hear a car drive by. Don't let that distract you from the message at hand. I did my best to edit all of it out. It's not as distracting as I'm making it seem right now. There is cat hair flying in the air in front of my face and it's sticking to me, so I apologize. But just, don't be shocked if you hear a little gust of wind or if you hear a little motorcycle rev up. That is normal. That's fine. It did not take away from the conversation. It's a really important conversation that we had today, or not today, but that we had a few days ago and that you're going to be listening to today. But with that being said, I am so honored to introduce someone to the podcast for a second time whose story and leadership and vision embody what it means to transform politics from the ground up. So my guest is Gay Valimont, and you might remember her from one of my first episodes of He's Not Wrong. And if you haven't listened to that one, if you're one of the newer listeners that has only listened to the newer episodes, if you haven't listened to that one yet, I implore you to go back and give it a listen. It was empowering, and it kind of sets up the conversation for where Gay and I got started today. Gay is the founder of the Engage Y'all PAC, a political action committee powered by a team of bold, justice-driven individuals who are determined to change the political landscape, especially in places where the establishment too often overlooks. Engage Y'all isn't just another political action committee. It is quite literally a movement. It's a team of organizers and strategists, communicators, and advocates who know firsthand how to build power in communities that are often ignored, written off, or underestimated. And their mission is very simple, but quite profound. It's to create a space for voices that deserve to be heard and to support candidates who can carry those voices into decision-making halls across this country, whether it's local, state, or federal. Engage Y'all will be getting involved in your local community and supporting candidates who will be running for office. And at the center of this effort is Gay herself. And you might know her from her candidacy for Congress in Florida's 1st Congressional District, or her years of advocacy work in the gun violence prevention space. But her leadership isn't defined just by the offices that she sought or the policies that she has been a champion of. It's defined by her resilience and her courage, and her ability to turn personal tragedy into a force for collective change. Gay's path to public service is very deeply personal for her. In 2020, her husband, Brian, was diagnosed with ALS. If you remember this from the episode a few months back, I told the story, but I'll retell it for everyone who might be new. Her husband, Brian, in 2020 was diagnosed with ALS, and just a few months later, her son, Eli, who was only 8 years old, was diagnosed with a rare and terminal brain tumor. And Gay became the primary taker for both of them until within months of each other, she lost them both. Most of us cannot imagine the weight of that grief or that pain, but Gay didn't retreat. Instead, she turned her pain into purpose. She found resolve in the face of loss, and she committed herself to challenging a political system that too often fails to meet families where they are. In moments of crisis, in struggle, in moments of need, that lived experience is at the heart of Engage Y'all. Every decision that will come through this organization will be grounded in courage and conviction and community. And Gay brings humanity into politics, not just as some political slogan, but literally as a daily practice. She is determined to ensure that no one is overlooked, that no community is ignored, and that no family's struggle is dismissed as irrelevant to the policy debates that shape our future. Now, before we dive deeper into this episode, I do want to share something with you. We have a short video that I will insert in just a second. So you'll see it if you're watching on YouTube, you'll hear it if you're listening on the podcast apps, but that'll give you a sense of Gay's journey and thought process with starting the Engage Y'all PAC, and how her campaign after an election didn't just end, it simply evolved into what it is today. It transformed into a political action movement with the power to shape the future in ways that campaigns alone cannot. So I want to take a minute to watch that, and then after the video is done, it will be my absolute honor and privilege to give to you my conversation with Gay Valimont.
People think the government doesn't work for them, so why would they waste their day going to vote? I've heard it over and over and over again. Are you registered to vote? Nope. Why? My vote doesn't count. I totally get that. In Florida in particular, the Republicans never run, they just have money. The Democratic Party for years has conceded areas that are consistently red now. It's the people in these areas that need democratic policies more than most. Places like this can be won with conversation and determination and with locals that actually care. This is beautiful. This is who we are. And we need representation that's going to represent us all. Let's get this done.
Gay, welcome back.
Hi.
He's Not Wrong. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. So I told Gay before we got started that guests that come on a second time are expert correspondents. So you're now my leading expert correspondent in political affairs and strategy. So
I'm going to add that to my resume.
do it. I'm going to add it to my website. Last time you were here on one of my first episodes, actually, you were running for Congress in Florida's 1st congressional district.
I did.
Unfortunately, you did not win. But there were some really big gains that were had for your home district. Can you tell me a little bit about what wins you had in that loss?
Yeah. Well, to put it into perspective for everybody, it's plus 33 Republican district.
Mm-hmm.
So our district is the second reddest in the United States. Do you know where the first one is?
Is it North Alabama?
It's Alabama's 4.
Yep.
So Alabama 4, and then ours is the second worst. So it was an uphill battle. But in the special election, we were able to flip one of our counties. In fact, the first county in Florida, Escambia County, blue. And we had significant gains in the other 3 counties.
Yep.
We gained 22% or 22 points from the previous election. So I only lost by 11 points, and that's pretty good.
And because you were being projected at, I mean, the swing between what was being projected and what you did was like unheard of, and no one was expecting that, and you did that.
First time in 19 years.
That is absolutely insane. We're proud of you. What do you credit that to?
Just being out there, talking to people. I love the whole campaign process is crazy, but the best thing is to go out and talk to people where they're at. People knew that they would see me at the grocery store or at the library or places that I was accessible.
Yeah.
So people got to know me.
Mm-hmm.
And, once they got past my name is Gay, then we could have civil conversations about what was happening. In fact, in Escambia County, we got 27% of the Republican vote.
That is, that is phenomenal.
And 75% of MPAs.
Yeah.
And it's because I went out and talked to them about the things that matter to them, not the things that don't matter. So.
One thing I've talked about a lot when you were on the podcast several months back is Taylor, my boyfriend sitting right behind the camera. Your campaign knocked on his family's home And it was the first time that anyone political has ever made any kind of contact at their home. And I think that is a testament to the hope that your campaign gave to people and the hope that you continue to give.
It was a huge part of what we did. We were able, because we raised money, we raised $9.8 million in the special election. Because we raised the money, we were able to hire people in our community to go knock doors and pay them $25 an hour to go knock on doors. And this was just as the federal cuts were coming down and the cuts to the VA. So we put that money back into our community, and I'm so proud of that. But knocking on doors, I mean, we had so many people tell us, nobody's ever knocked on my door and nobody has ever asked for my vote.
And you had a large veteran population in your district. Were you able to hire any of those veterans to knock doors?
Yeah, we had lots of veterans that would come out and knock on doors for us, and come to me and talk to, because one of my top issues was the VA clinic.
Yeah.
So veterans wanted to come talk to me about what's going on with them, their crises, and then I would give them solutions, and they would come back, and they would go knock on doors for me. And now I feel like, we lost, and I take the responsibility for that. But it breaks my heart that the policies that I wanted to implement are far gone.
Yeah.
And so that I feel the responsibility of that. I've had a hangover from the campaign, but most of it is thinking about the people that believed in me.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I talked about with you before we started recording this episode is that Mallory Hagan, who ran for Congress in Alabama, former Miss America, she was on the podcast last week, and we were talking about how when these monumental moments for the underdog in state parties happen, like 2017, 2018 for Alabama with Doug Jones, and then all the Democrats that ran at that time, that was a pivotal moment where a Democratic movement could have been built upon.
Right.
But they just dropped the ball, and we're now feeling the consequences of that. In 2022, in those midterms, the Democratic Party only raised $1 million in Alabama. And your campaign alone in this special election raised 9 times that.
Yeah.
That is...
And those were all small dollar donors.
Yeah.
We had over 325,000 people that donated $5, $10, $20 at a time. So that's how we made our money. And we did it by putting videos out. Social media was a big deal because people wanted to know who they were giving their money to.
Yeah.
And I will be a great purveyor of the money that we have left over.
Before we get into what you have been doing after the campaign, I'm curious to know the kind of support that the Democratic Party in Florida and even nationally, what that looked like for you. Was there support? Was it just you, grassroots, your team, and really define the odds?
Yeah. I mean, the beginning, the first election against Gates, we didn't expect to have any support.
Yeah.
But when you do run for office, most people don't know how to run for office, right?
Yeah.
When you do run for office, you need the party to give you the tools that you need, train you so that you can talk to the media, so that we can get our message out in a uniform manner. I didn't get any of that support. So in the special election, we made a trip to D.C. when they were voting for D.C., the DNC chair.
Yep.
We made FaceTime with everybody that was elected, literally grabbing David Hogg by both arms and saying, if you want a gun violence prevention activist in Congress, you will come help me.
Yeah.
David Hogg did come down and help. Maxwell Frost called. He wanted to come down. It was just too fast for him to come down. But those were the only people, and we brought in Amy McGrath.
Yep.
Helped me with the Veterans Town Hall. She was great. But when we looked to the party for surrogates, because again, we didn't need their money. We had money.
Yeah.
I looked to the party for surrogates to come down because you need you need somebody to make you legit.
Yeah.
And I looked to the elected leaders, and they blew us all off. The D-Trip said, there's no way you can win this race. Well, we did monumental things in Florida's 1st Congressional District. We moved a county and turned it blue. It had not been blue since before Morning Yoga. The National Party hung me out to dry.
Yeah.
I wanted, all I asked them for was Raphael Warnock, or could you send Reverend Al Sharpton, somebody that could hold souls to the polls, because we have a deeply religious Black community in Pensacola. And I wanted to bring them all out because Florida stole souls to the polls away from us.
Yep.
They won't let us vote on Sunday anymore. And so that's all I wanted. And nobody ever got back in touch with us or anything. But there were lots and lots of ads out about the special election in Florida. Donate to the DNC and donate to the Florida Democratic Party because of our special election. In the end, I believe the Florida Democratic Party gave us $8,000 in van access, paid for our van, and the National Party did nothing.
I'm silent right now because I'm angry.
They made a lot of money off of our race and did not.
There's a lot of gripes I have with the National Party, one being what they did to David Hogg, but that's a different conversation for another day. But I think what your campaign, I don't think I know what your campaign did was it took a place where they weren't willing to make an investment, and you showed what hope can do for a community. When you have candidates who can hold elected officials accountable, when you can have a clear message, when you know policy and things that you want to implement, people take hold of that, because it's been missing when supermajorities hold a district for decades. They just get complacent and they forget what true representation can look like. And you were a perfect example of what that can do for a district.
People in my district have no idea what representation feels like, because Matt Gaetz was in Congress for 8 years and did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, he raised a lot of hell. He was an ass on the floor of Congress often. But policy-wise and doing some good things for the constituents of Florida's 1st Congressional District, he did nothing. And what makes me so sad is that the Republicans voted again for a congressperson that's going to do nothing for them.
You know, in the Democratic Party's lack of support for your campaign, and your, even despite the wins that you had and the overall loss of that seat, what has transpired in that loss since? Because I think there's beauty in loss always, and you've done something really beautiful.
You do, and you have to, after the election, everybody's like, look what we did. It was so great. And I'm like, but we still lost. Over time, the gains that we made have sunk in. But I also know that it's hard to run for Congress.
Yeah.
And I need to take a break right now from running for Congress.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided not to run again in 26. And that's not solid, because if nobody runs against Jimmy Petronis, I will jump in, because I will not let him go unopposed.
Yep.
But what I can do now is take what we learned, because my campaign staff was genius. We figured it out from nuts to bolts, how to run a campaign. And in the end, after 22 months of running, I think we perfected it.
Yeah.
No, we didn't win, but we made so many gains. So I retained my entire staff. I kept my campaign manager, and now she's my strategic director. I kept my communications director, and we added some field people. And what we're going to do now is I'm the founder of the PAC called Engage Y'all. And I think when you say it, you got to say, engage, y'all. And we're going to help candidates, good candidates like me, in districts where the party has overlooked or will not go.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to fill in the gaps. Now, we're going to do this in the Southeast, because we know that in the Southeast, we have more Democrats than any other region of the country.
Yeah.
But we keep losing elections because we're bleeding Democrats away. So what we found in our race was that there were so many Democrats in their houses that were just not involved. But we knocked on those doors and we talked to them, and we got them motivated to get out and care about what's happening in the world and let them know that they can change it. And so we want to help good candidates, talk to good Democrats in southern areas, get them engaged, get them voting, and elect good people to office.
I mean, this is Mallory's episode was more theory, and yours is like a practical application of that theory.
Yeah.
That when you challenge an elected official, when you challenge the majority,
Yeah.
and you get people engaged, it can do wonders. This
Yeah.
is so exciting. So you just said that there are gaps.
Mhm.
And your hope is that Engage Y'all will fill those gaps.
Yeah.
What can you tell me what some of those are, what those gaps look like,
Well,
and what the cause and effect of them?
The gaps are someone, that's running for state house and they can't afford yard signs.
Yeah.
200 yard signs. Can we provide 200 yard signs? Absolutely. Are you running in a race where somebody has an exorbitant amount of money? You have no money to get your word out. We'll add some money in for digital. The things that people, because it takes a ton of money to run for office.
Yeah, it really does.
And it's a horrible process to have to raise money. And people don't understand why you have to have money. Everybody says money out of politics, money. Well, as long as the other side has money, we can't take money out of politics because we have to be able to run against them. We have a little bit of money left over, and we want to raise a lot of money so that we can help these candidates, so that we can go to these places, in places like we live.
Yeah.
We live in the South. We live amongst Republicans and Democrats, and we can talk to them. And that's what it's going to take. We have to have the conversations.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. I want to
Please
say
do.
what I'm about to say I don't believe in,
Okay.
to a degree. But so one of the talking points that we always hear is we have to get money out of politics.
Yeah.
And that's PACs, super PACs,
Yep.
corporate money. One thing that Mallory and I last week talked about was the need for having competitive primaries, but candidates who have at least a little name recognition
Yeah.
and the ability to raise money, because you're looking at just overhead costs for the basic bare bone necessities
Yep.
between $40,000 to $50,000 a month. And that's
At least.
shoestring.
Yeah.
That's shoestring. So being able to fundraise and have a name that people trust to give money to is
Yep.
necessary, but sometimes that's not enough.
Yep.
And when we say we want money out of politics and PACs, I would think, well, all PACs.
Yeah.
Why is Engage different? Why if someone said, I don't care, I'm not going to vote for this candidate because they're taking PAC money,
Right.
what's the defense for that?
So I believe that our PAC is a helpful PAC. A lot of people put PACs together, they raise a lot of money, and they
Yeah.
don't do anything with it. We want to be able to show our progress. In fact, right now we're working in Tennessee 7 because it's the first special election that has come up since our election. So we spent the week in Nashville trying to rally the troops for this district. And what that takes and filling in the gaps there means that people need to know that there's a special election.
Mm-hmm.
So when we can show what we've done, when we can get out the vote, I think people will be more willing to do that. People are donating their money to the party, and I think it's worth noting that a lot of times candidates do not see that money.
Yeah.
And so we want to be able to show what we're doing so that people will donate to us, so that we can spread that joy to billboards or radio spots, or bringing in a surrogate for somebody, or use my celebrity or whatever that is to help anybody. Rally the troops to get out and vote. Now, I use rally the troops a lot, but in this climate, it's not good.
No,
I
but
apologize.
I mean, people will know what you mean when
Rally
you say
volunteers.
that. Yes, boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. That's what it's going to take.
So you're getting involved in Tennessee.
Yep.
What I'm curious about is, how did you find that district, and how are you finding districts like that to get Engage Y'all involved in?
Mhm.
Or do you start with finding a candidate and encouraging them to run, or are you looking for established candidates and
Both.
Okay.
Kind of both. So in the congressional race that we're working right now, so people have already filed to run. We identified this race because we're looking at my old campaign manager, Aaron Wiley, who is now our strategic director.
Yeah.
There's a lot of numbers and crunching the numbers and the data that go into, we're not going into districts though and saying, can you win? We're going into districts saying you will win because we will help. we didn't identify the candidates in this particular race. In most congressional races, we won't because people have already filed. But say on the Panhandle in our area, we are talking to people. You know, those Democrats that go to the meetings and show up to everything. We're talking to those people about running for office because you know what's going on in the world. And if you've never considered running for office, you should consider running for office. And that's everything from school board to city council to county commissioners to state house to Congress. We need people, good people, to be unafraid to go out and run as a Democrat because we have policies that people believe in.
Yep. And so oftentimes local races are so overlooked. And those are the ones that oftentimes impact
Make the
you.
difference
Yeah.
the most.
It's crazy.
They miss you. They miss the most. County commissioners and that level of local government is critical. Is critical. And most of our little towns that, you know, they say are Republican, we have 2 or 3 Democrats that are elected. They need more help to stand up. You know, we have a supermajority in Florida. Is there a supermajority in Alabama?
Yeah, it's been this way for about 20 years now.
Exactly. When that happens, they get complacent.
Yeah.
And they're not working for the people. So we're trying to find normal people like me, good candidates like me, who believe in their constituents and what they can do for their district, their local area, their city, their beach, that have heart for it.
Do you ever see, from your experience on the campaign trail, where people are just so they're so tired of politics because they think what's happening locally is a result of state and national, and that's keeping them from getting involved? I'm just wondering because, like in Montgomery, when I was running for city council, there were so many things as to why people are like, I don't vote. And when I'm like, why aren't you voting? It's oftentimes like the local issues. And it's like, if we start local, we can really make a difference in people's lives.
We can absolutely make a difference in people's lives. The challenge is the civics of it all, right?
Yeah.
People don't really understand what their city councilman does. People don't really understand what their representatives in Congress do. But talking to people about what you can do for them, or talking to people about when there's a pothole, you need to go to your city council member, or you need a sidewalk, this is who you go to.
Yeah.
But if you need us to save healthcare, then you have to go to Congress.
Yep.
Because Congress holds the power. And right now, Congress is at a stalemate. So more than anything in the world, we need good elected Democrats to go to Congress so that we can save health care. I mean, I don't know if you've heard, but 75% of the people that are on Obamacare, you know, the open marketplace, their premiums will increase not in a year, not in 2 years, but this month. They don't understand that their premiums are going to go up 75% because of the big, beautiful bill.
So we're already about to start feeling the consequences of that.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to have to happen for people to change their minds. They're going to have to feel it in their wallet, which they're already feeling it now. If you make $12 an hour, you can't afford a pound of ground beef.
Yeah, and people can't allow their apathy towards one elected office to affect how they vote for all the rest.
Right. We got to get out of identity politics and start identifying with ourselves and going, what is going to make my life better? What policies are going to make my life better? Not Donald Trump's.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
What I'm curious about is when you're getting involved in races like the one in Tennessee and more in the months and years to come, there will be districts where we might not win this time around, but we laid the groundwork for getting people mobilized. So the next time, there's an even more chance that they're going to win.
You got to chip away at it.
So with that in mind, what does success look like for Engage Y'all? If I'm going to continue to volunteer, if I'm going to continue giving money, what do I need to look out for to know that it's being used effectively and it's making a difference?
Well, we're going to be completely transparent. When we buy signs for somebody, for some candidate that we've endorsed or whatever, we're going to have that on our website. We want you to know that where your money specifically is going to. We want you to know that you put up that billboard or that you paid for a dialer for somebody to make calls to raise money for their campaign. Success for us is making sure that candidates can run as candidates and not have to worry about all the mistakes that we made early in our campaign.
Yep.
We want to make sure they don't do that. And I am all about progress, but we are looking for wins.
Yeah.
Because we can do it. If I can gain 22 points in 4 months in Pensacola, Florida, then races that are within 10 points are winnable.
Have you had any examples or any highlights from announcing Engage that's given you excitement and hope for what it's going to be able to do?
I was actually at our Okaloosa DEC meeting as I was presenting them with their $25,000 check, because we gave $25,000 to each DEC in our district to build on their on what we've already built: infrastructure, print material, stamps, crap like that.
Yep.
So at the Okaloosa meeting, as I was presenting the check, and I gave my spiel about we need candidates. You know, we have the resources to make it happen.
Yeah.
We have the know-how to make it happen. Now we need the candidates. And I had the president of the Black Caucus stand up and he said, I want to run. He said, I don't know what I want to run for, but I want to run because you're looking for people to run. I want to run. And I'm like, we will go to our website, fill out the candidate form, and let's talk about, even if you don't know what you want to run for, we'll figure it out. What you're best suited for.
All because you created a platform in a space that encourages people and supports them.
Yeah.
Some
it's
man
not
stood
easy
up.
to run. It's not easy to ask people to run.
Yeah, it's not.
But people fear running.
Yeah.
And I want to give people the solace that you'll make it out on the other end, whether you win or lose, but we're going to work our ass off to to get there.
You have, as you said, you've worked your ass off for Florida's 1st congressional district, for the entire state of Florida, and now for the Southeast.
Yeah.
And you have not stopped. And I'm just curious, what is keeping you motivated in this work to keep going and keep moving forward?
This feels different from running for office. When you're running for office, you put yourself out there and you have to prove yourself every day, and you have to take rejection and all that stuff. This time around, I just get to lift up candidates, make it easier for them so that they can be candidates and earn votes and not have to worry about, we want to teach people how to raise money, and if they need a little seed money, we got a little seed money. We want to do those things and fill the gaps in. I get excited because, I tell people, if you can run, if you have the know-how, you're almost obligated.
Yeah.
And I know how to do this, and I know how to motivate people, and I know that we can do it if we just keep going. I'm not going to shut up, and I'm not going to sit down, because I can't. We are at a point in our politics where, I could vacation now and try to get over the election, but we don't have time for that.
No.
We're at DEFCON 5.
Well, at the pace things are going now, no, we do not have time to sit around.
We have 3 more years of this.
Yeah.
And if we don't change Congress in 26, I can't imagine what's going to happen. We have to get back Congress. It is imperative.
I mean, if they win in 26, that's a blank check for them to literally just do whatever.
I mean, then we are under a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And that's only if we can hold our democratic republic until 26. They want to gerrymander the maps.
Yeah.
They want to make it harder for people to vote, which in Florida, it's already pretty hard for people to vote and vote by mail. I want people to not give up.
Yeah.
And if after what I've been through with my family, losing my husband and my child, running for Congress for 22 months, I tell people, if I'm not giving up, you can't give up.
Damn, y'all, I think I'm going to run for office again.
You should run. Everybody run. If you have what did I say? I was at another meeting, and I was like, I'd used John F. Kennedy. If you can, you must. And it's important that we have good people that can run for office, that people will trust.
Yeah.
We just got to get them out of their houses.
Absolutely. For the people listening, they're feeling inspired. They want to run. They want to donate. They want to volunteer.
Yeah.
What's the best way that they can get plugged in with you?
Well, you can go to our website, engageyall.com, and you have to say it like that, engage y'all. We often call it engage because we got to say engage over and over again. We have a candidate form on our website. You can read what we're doing, what's going on in Tennessee 7. If you are in Tennessee 7, please get your resources there. You can find out if you're registered to vote. You can find out if you're up to date on your voting registration. You can find out where you're supposed to vote. Everything on our website. But we do need donations. And I told you earlier, we had small donations that propelled our candidacy to something it had never been before.
Yeah.
So we want to spread that love. We want to actually do things for candidates, unlike the party.
Well, you know what? I am feeling empowered. I am now thinking. It's been on my mind. Taylor is always like saying you can run for office again. I'm like, this conversation's making me want to do that and to get involved and to make sure Alabama can be a place that I'm extremely proud of. And the work that you're doing with Engage Y'all is phenomenal. And thank you for your dedication to furthering the Democratic cause, because it's so important.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So final question.
Okay.
Gay Valimont, for the second time, what are you not wrong about?
For the second time, I am not wrong. And I have to go to this. I'm sorry. I have to go to this. I'm not wrong about gun violence prevention.
Yep.
I'm not wrong that with background checks on all gun sales and stronger background checks, we can solve gun violence.
Yep.
We don't have to make it worse. And I hope Republicans can get on board. We're not trying to take your guns away. You know, after the Charlie Kirk murder, I would think people would want stricter gun laws.
Yeah.
And not from people that are proponents of the Second Amendment. That's fine. We can work within the Second Amendment and save bodies.
I'm going to piggyback off of that just a little bit, because one thing that makes me so angry is when people say that's not going to work. We can't do that. It's going to be a snowball effect. We can't do. Just try it. We've never tried it before. How can you say it's not going to work when we have literally never tried it? If you care, if you want to end the gun violence, if you want to save lives, you will do whatever it takes.
If you don't want to fear being in public, like we all fear being in public, especially as candidates, elected officials, people that speak out, we're in danger. We're in danger because there are too many loose, illegal guns on the streets. We are in trouble because we don't have an assault weapon ban. And every time we go in public now, we have to accept the responsibility that we may be shot. And that is unacceptable to me.
Yeah, it is unacceptable. And Gay, you are not wrong about that. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I love your new place.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all are going to get to see it on TikTok in a few days, but thank you, Gay.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
And all right, everyone, that was the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to thank Gay Valimont again for making the time to come in person to do this episode and to announce the Engage Y'all Pact and really get all of you involved and engaged with the movement that she is creating. In the episode, you heard that she is currently involved in a congressional race, special election in Tennessee. So she was in Tennessee, and then on her way back to Florida, our schedules aligned that allowed her to stop in Birmingham and to do this episode. And so I just wholeheartedly want to thank Gay and her team for stopping here, doing this episode, and giving me the ability to learn about her PAC and share it with all of you. And I hope that all of you do get involved and stay active and do your part in making sure that we are supporting candidates and filling those gaps where the establishment might not be supporting our local Democrats. If you want to get involved, I know you heard Gay say it, but I'll say it again here. You can go to engageyall.com, and there you can see where they're getting involved. You can see your voter registration information. You can get news and updates. You can figure out ways that you can work with them and to really make sure that their mission is a success. So go to engageyall.com, get involved, donate, give your time, whatever that you are able to give to them, please do so. And with that, that's the episode. I appreciate all of you for listening. And if you've made it this far in this episode, I'm internally grateful. We have a lot more fun episodes coming up, so please stay tuned for that. If you have something that you are not wrong about that you want to share with me on a future episode, please be sure to give me a call at 205-538-3202. That's 205-538-3202, and you can leave a voice message and I'll feature it on a future episode. Or you can go to my Instagram, He's Not Wrong podcast, and leave me a voice memo there. I can interact with all of you. If you want to shoot me a text message at that phone number that I just shared, you can also do that. I'm more than happy to interact with all of you in that way as well. And you know what? Until next time, bye.